Welcome into the Culture Class podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the role of billionaires in today's world, and if they are the root of evil, what regulation they should have, all of that. And this is coming in light of all the world issues that have been going on and people calling on billionaires to do more with the wealth that they have. But before we get into it, make sure that you subscribe, like, which is free. And it helps us a lot. And also follow on Spotify and any other platforms that we decide to put this on. But yeah, Sakif, what's your main overall thinking towards billionaires? What's your opinion towards them?
I feel like, there's this kind of divide where you're pro-billionaire, you're not pro-billionaire, or like you're anti-billionaire. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle where I feel like I am pro-billionaire. I feel like if you work for your money, then you deserve what you get. Yeah. Like, there's people like Dangote, who's like, I think he's the richest man in Africa right now, who's like, the reason why he's a billionaire is because he owns all the crops and all the wealth and everything that, like, do you know what I mean?
The resources that Africa have to offer.
Resources in Nigeria, that's why he's the richest man in Africa.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's certain, like, by being a billionaire, I feel like that should only increase your, like, the resources you provide for society.
Yeah.
Like that's a necessity for you to do.
Yeah.
Like that's what you have. It's like if I have a nuke, right? The point of that nuke would be that I'm accountable for everything that happens with it. So if I'm responsible for that nuke, so if that goes off, that's on me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So just like you're responsible for your money, so you have to decide, like, because you've got this much money, you've got more money than most countries. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain countries, you need to work with that. And you need to use that responsibly, especially with what's happening around the world.
If I put a gun to your head and said, "Are you pro-billionaire or anti-billionaire?" what would your answer be?
I think that's because that's the thing. Like, I've
got a gun to your head, mate. I'm not going to wait for you to chit chat. I want pro-anti.
Pro-billionaire because I'd want to be a billionaire.
Yeah,
I would want to be a billionaire.
Uh-huh.
But the one thing I would say is to be a billionaire, I feel like you always have to do something bad in your life to do that.
Do you think?
Come on. Yeah. I feel like you have to do something dirty to become a billionaire. I don't think there's any clean billionaires.
But then does that beg the question that the world is not built for extreme levels of wealth?
Yeah.
Is that the point, or is that coming from a point of view where it's like, if you're a billionaire, you must have immoral values? No,
not because you have to have immoral values. It's because you have to do it some sort of immoral, like, you must have, like, your morals come into question when something so drastic's happening in the world and you're not giving anything to it. So but I know it's not their responsibility.
No, but it's in, like, you said that becoming a billionaire, you have to do something bad in your life, essentially.
No, like, which is decision making.
But do you mean bad in your life to get to that point, or bad in your life when you have that? When you have that life
once you have that money, like, which I feel like you could decide to change. So, like, I'm sure you were bringing up Jeff Bezos and like how he could literally stop the world from, like, I don't know,
from hunger for any issues
by providing the UN with £4 billion and he's worth 158 billion. I know it's easy to say because, do you know what I mean, who wants to give up that money?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this and that. But the amount of money he has and the amount of like, he's literally above the law. Like, Mark Zuckerberg, he said this thing which is the craziest statement. He made a statement saying, as long as, I don't care if the world's becoming a better place, as long as Facebook's around, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I care more about Facebook being around than the world becoming a better place.
Yeah. Talking of like becoming a better place, do you believe, because I believe that billionaires become billionaires because you don't just become a billionaire just from nothing. You become a billionaire because you've changed the world in some sort of way. So, like, Jeff Bezos created a new way for delivery and for consumers to buy products through Amazon. Like, it's Mark Zuckerberg created a new, like, platform for people to connect with other people around the world, which we take for granted. Like, this podcast goes out to loads of different people because the advances that Mark Zuckerberg helped towards social media and media itself. So for me, I would say I'm pro-billionaire because billionaires change the world that you live in.
Yeah, but no one's questioning what they do. No one's questioning, like,
what
the they thing provide to the world.
No, but but people are questioning it because they're like, oh, then like there was a big tweet that blew up a couple of weeks ago where it's like Jeff Bezos started this new climate change organization fund, or he named I can't remember what the tweet exactly was, but he named something like climate change, and people were like, oh, why are you doing that when you can spend 1% of your wealth and solve the problem of climate change? much. And it's like, firstly, people will literally complain about everything. Secondly, it's not your money for anybody to say this is how you should spend your money. And thirdly, it's like, you're looking at the wrong people. They're such easy scapegoats.
No, they're
these
not
problems,
easy scapegoats.
No, they are. They are very
no,
easy scapegoats.
Because, this is the point, right? Bill Gates doesn't get as much hate as Mark Zuckerberg. Why? Because Mark Zuckerberg, with all the data that he holds, and you forget the money gets him the data. The data gets him the money.
Yeah.
Right? Because he sells that data.
Yeah.
When you sign up for Facebook, you go to the terms and agreements. It clearly states that once you agree, we have all holdings and all recordings of your data, and they sell that, right? And that's why he got put into, he got the subpoena and this and that because of that. And he made that statement saying afterwards, like, as long as Facebook's around, I don't really care if the world's become a better place. That's why people say they should have more thing. And then you talk about delivery that Jeff Bezos does, but you forget the amount of inhumane things that he does to Amazon workers, to if your morality is more focused on delivering economically for the world, through providing delivery service and this and that, more than being kind of like helping the world in a more morally way, or taking more responsibility in crises such as maybe these people don't want to. Fair enough. Maybe these people don't want to get involved in these crises such as like Yemen and this and that. But when they're seeing an active famine and all they need to do is give not even 4 billion, all you have to give is literally give 1 million, and at least one of these people would be blessed. One of these cities would be blessed.
I feel like, but the thing is,
it's easy to say.
People forget. Yeah, it's easy to say, but people forget that when you've got that much money, you have an equal amount of power over the world, essentially. So anything you do becomes so political. That's not a way of me saying like,
that's the responsibility of that role.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, I'm not saying that so that billionaires don't feel responsible for things that they can be doing, but like everything they do, it's going to get scrutinized politically. But then and then that'll affect their wealth.
You're contradicting your point.
No, but that'll affect their wealth in turn. So for their point of view, they're like, but if I get involved with this, then that'll affect my own wealth. And then that brings into question, one, their morality, and two, their ethics. Because it's like, do I want to make the world a better place, or do I want to keep my wealth?
But then
which is a fair...
No, but then that contradicts your point of view, and that questions your morality, because do you value more on what they deliver, like the delivery service that Jeff Bezos has gave, or do you value more that he is a billionaire and he has that responsibility by being a billionaire to have an active role in like social needs? Because you forget, right, these people are above the law. You might not see it, they are above the law. When they... Like, you look at this Jeffrey Epstein thing that's going on. Donald Trump is literally a pedophile, and he is above the law.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you might not be like, it's not, there's no proof and this and that. You forget Prince Andrew is literally a nonce, and he's walking around freely. They are they're fully above the law, and we don't really give a shit about that. Why? Because they're delivering on things such as Amazon and like this and that, because they're providing. But that's your morality question for yourself. So that just shows what you do as a billionaire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's like, there's two angles you can look at it, and I feel like we're looking at it two different ways. I'm looking at billionaires as what they've achieved in their life and what they've done to change. Like, the money they've made is a product of how they've changed people's lives. So like Donald Trump, him and his father created like huge estates in New York, creating so much money off owning the land and the property deeds of those places in New York, creating houses. Like, I don't know what state of houses they are, or if they're good or not. So I can't really question on that. But for me, I look at billionaires for what they've achieved. Like, I would love to be a billionaire, not because of power, just because like you essentially can buy whatever you want. But these billionaires, it's hard because for me, I just look at what they provide. But it's hard for it. But I shouldn't really just look at what they provide. I should look at at the cost that comes for it. But it's like, I'm not sure.
Then your points kind of like thing, because morally, like, that's where your points are viewed, and it's subjective, yes. But at the end of the day, if you weighed both of them out, for any person in the world, the social values would be higher than whatever the economic values they're bringing.
But I think that's the same. Like, for example, like veganism. Like, I wouldn't kill a chicken, or I wouldn't kill like a goat or a lamb, but I'd still eat the goat. So what's the difference? Like,
no, that's completely different.
I've accepted the fact this bad thing goes on. that I wouldn't do to get what I want.
That's completely different.
But it is
because
it's
you're
not.
talking about nature right now. Because you know, when you become a billionaire through having an active responsibility of owning, through having an active responsibility of changing the world, like you said. So that's what every billionaire's. No one's just a billionaire.
Yeah.
They have to have that active role, like you said, provide a service. That means when he's doing Amazon deliveries and he's providing that service of Amazon, he needs to treat these people like humanely.
Yeah.
But he's treating them inhumane. So that's the first point. Next, like the next point would be, because he has such an active, I think he's took over more than 40, I don't know how many businesses during Corona. He's took over so many businesses. That means he has an active role of protecting all of his employees. After that, billionaires, I know Kylie Jenner's not a billionaire anymore, but as a family, the Kardashians are a billionaire. You look at what they're doing now, they're getting so much hate because they've took away their contract in Bangladesh, and they've literally they haven't paid Bangladeshi workers for that like for amount of time. That's the same with India and this and that, right? You forget that's their role of being a billionaire. So if you're morally thinking about it, I think that outweighs anything you think they provide economically. Yes, they've done good in providing us a service. No one's taken that away, but morally they need to do better.
Yeah,
because they've got the resources to do that.
I think mainly it's all down to perception, because one, not every billionaire in the world is like exploiting exploiting their workers, but obviously Jeff Bezos is a point of reference because he's the biggest one.
Billionaire.
He's the biggest billionaire, but like not all of them do it. So I disagree when you say like, oh, to become a billionaire you have to do bad. You don't have to do bad to become a billionaire. I explained
afterwards. I said
no, but
to be a billionaire, your morals become questioned, which is bad.
No, but I think that comes with like the example of like becoming the top of whatever industry you're in. Like that has to come at a cost. Like you don't just all.
I'm
like,
not questioning
no. Listen, like you don't just get like Michael Jordan did not just become to get 6 titles just by being really nice to all his teammates, just like being like a pally with everyone. No, listen. He didn't get that from being like Roy Keane. He didn't win all of that. Like he was horrible to the people he worked with just because he wanted results. And that's the same with these billionaires. But with the billionaires, it's worse because they're harming their workers. But like the philosophies are still the same. Like they treat the people they work with or work for like shit. Like Michael Jordan doesn't get called out for treating his like players like shit. Because he's trying to achieve something and he needs something from them, so he treats them like shit to get to that point.
No, that's not right. So
it's the exact same. It's the exact same philosophy.
No, it's not the same philosophy. Because if you compare, so you're telling me because Michael Jordan treats his teammates like shit, and no.
Okay,
you're not saying that. I know you're not saying that. You're saying that's the same philosophy. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying you're saying it's the same philosophy. You're saying that's the same philosophy where none of them are getting morally hurt to the extent of a Bengali worker who's on what, £2, not even 20 pence a day, 2 pence a day.
No, but my point is that like
you think it's the same extent.
No, my point is, okay, so Michael Jordan obviously couldn't do that because winning a championship is not the same as fucking making billions of pounds, is it? Yeah. So but it's in the extent is different. So the extent of the philosophy is the same, but the extent is different because Michael Jordan's trying to achieve something. Michael Jordan, Roy Keane are trying to achieve something different to billionaires. Because for billionaires, like I feel like when you get to a certain level of wealth, you have to. No, you don't have to, but like. When people get so greedy, they'll do anything to get. They'll do anything to get. They'll do anything to get to that level. But for me, it's like people put so much emphasis on the responsibility of billionaires when it's not their judgment to pass. You know what I mean? Like you can
I know, but it's their responsibility to pass. It's not.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is the billionaires. I don't think billionaires' responsibility.
Before you said that. It was their responsibility because they have the active resources to do better. And I'm not talking about. I'll give you that example. You know, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
People admire him for being a good billionaire. Do you know what I mean? Even I don't know what he's done wrong or what he's done good. But people admire him for being a good billionaire because people see him as a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Because he has a Bill Gates fund where he donates like at least I think he donates like 30% of his wealth, which is a lot.
Yeah.
To that fund, and that helps I think broken homes or something like that. And educating others in software. So that's philanthropy, right? But So that's a responsibility he has because of the money that he's made.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're saying, even with Michael Jordan, when you're saying, yes, he didn't do bad. I'm not saying you have to do bad to become a billionaire, but I'm saying you get that responsibility. And when you pass a judgment on your responsibility of like, do I help these people? Do I not help these people? And if he says, no, I'm not going to help these people, that's where he's done bad.
Yeah.
Because you're morally questioned, and it's moral objectivity. It's not moral subjectivity, because moral objectivity is, if I see a person dying on the streets, do I think am I going to help him or not?
Yeah.
That's everyone in the world will have that moral objectivity of yes.
No, but I think for us it's different because we have a certain moral compass. But we can't understand their point of view because we don't have their moral compass.
Yes.
Like we have, like it sounds like we're licking our own arse, but we have like a good moral compass where we try to help people around us. But for some people, like some of these billionaires, they like what Bill Gates is doing is amazing because he's got all the wealth. He's got all the wealth in the world to help people. But like that's a decision he made. I don't think people should go in on billionaires for not making that exact same decision.
No, but that's not what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying like that's a big consensus that people just expect billionaires to spend their wealth.
But the decision, I'm not saying about the decision they make. It's when it comes to them. When I see a person dying on the street and I've got the resources to help them, they see it every day because these are the same, like Jeff Bezos, even Kylie Jenner, they're employing these workers.
But I don't think if Jeff Bezos saw somebody dying on the street, he would just be like, no, I won't.
Well,
like,
that's literally what he's doing. Because he's on a worldwide scope.
He would because he's got a personal connection with that person that he's seen dying on the street. Like, I feel like anybody, if they see somebody dying on the street, they'll do anything. But because I feel like because he's probably never ever been to any of his workshops in Bangladesh or wherever he's abusing his workers.
That's morally right?
No, I don't think that's morally. I don't think that's morally right. Like I'm totally against sweatshops and abusing your workers because like. Essentially, they're the ones they're the ones who make you. But like, I'm still pro billionaire.
No, I'm not saying. I've even said it. I'm pro billionaire.
No, I'm not saying you're not saying that. I'm just saying.
I'm saying I'm pro billionaire.
It's like a catch-22 situation. I think.
No, it's not catch-22 at all because Dan Gautier, like I said, everyone does right or wrong.
Yeah.
Millionaires, billionaires, even anyone with £100 didn't do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, when a situation comes, most billionaires, because of the world that we're in now where everything's void, if I was a billionaire, I'm not saying like personally, I'm just talking from me, and obviously the future holds what the future holds, but I think if I was a billionaire, I had 158 billion in my account, I know for a fact if Yemen was in a crisis or famine where you're seeing it and it's all over social media and you've got the resources to help them, not even for $1 billion, I'm just saying provide them with resources to help them. They refuse to do that.
But do you think if you got to 158 billion, right, your mindset would change?
No,
I feel like to get to such an insane level of money, you have to have greed.
How much?
And that greed would affect your mindset. 100%.
Stormzy has projected that he's going to give £10 million, and he hasn't even got 10 million. His worth isn't even 10 million. He's already said he's put a contract out. He's paying £10 million in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. You can't tell me that his greed is any different. If he can do that while he's not even he hasn't even got 10 million in his account, why can't someone else do that? Why can't a billionaire do that? That provides a responsibility.
Obviously, that question is obviously why can't they? But it's their
decision, which makes it bad.
It's their decision to make. But like, I don't feel like anybody can go around telling, unless apart from government, you can't go around and tell people what they can and can't do with their money.
Exactly.
Apart from government are the ones with the ultimate responsibility. But if billionaires do their bit, then obviously these problems would change. Exactly. But that's their own prerogative. That's their own prerogative.
No, that's their own morality.
I think if billionaires put money into these sort of situations, it would make it so much. It would make it so much better. Alhamdulillah. Like obviously it would, but there still would be other issues that would still come up.
Yeah, exactly.
There would still be other issues that would
prerogative
come up.
And morality are two different things. Prerogative is initiative, right? Morality is when something's in front of you and you've got the resources to solve it, you will do that. Kylie Jenner, she owns sweatshops and she's not paying her workers. She's took the contract out. You're telling me as a billionaire, with her resources, she can't help these people. That makes her that's what I'm saying. When it comes to moral decisions, they are questioned and they are scrutinized more because they have the resources to solve these moral situations. And I'm not even talking about external situations. I'm talking about what they are doing. Jeff Bezos with his Amazon workers, Kylie Jenner with her sweatshop workers. That's what I'm talking about straight right now. Forget Yemen and this and that. That's a different matter where it's like then at that point you could be like, oh, their prerogative. And I feel like the one thing you need to remember when people say, oh, tax the rich, people aren't talking about rich as in people on 100 grand. They're not rich. Tax the rich are people who impose government power, billionaires, because the 1% of the billionaires in the UK, they're like Mike Ashley and this and that, they have the power to change government, give government enforcement and this and that. They change these kind of things. They have a big influence. They have big influence in policies, and they have big influence in how much income the country gets. Like, you forget Pablo Escobar, like we've said it 2 episodes now. Pablo Escobar helped his country how much? So much, like unbelievable amounts. He helped Colombia, and he was literally providing the money. But morally, we could say that he was morally he wasn't the best, because morally he's providing cocaine and he's doing this and that, and he's killing people. But you could say that yes, even though he's doing good, morally he has that influence to do better. But
to do better, like Pablo Escobar is probably one of the worst people that's ever lived.
No, that's what I'm saying. Morally, he could do better.
Yeah,
he should do better.
Yeah,
but he's still a billionaire. And a lot of people in Colombia, they love him.
Yeah, well, I think talk about trying to compare.
No, I'm not comparing it.
No, but I think trying to have a conversation about how Pablo Escobar is a completely different conversation.
No, but as money, I'm talking about money. I'm not talking about him as a person. I'm talking about his money. Because at the end of the day, you forget, right? Where does the drugs in the UK come from?
Don't know. You
forget, there used to be ganja farms in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
the biggest ones. And they used to say that they used to use these weed farms.
If you actually, let me ask you this: if you have this sort of morality that you these sort of beliefs towards morality, which are good, why are you pro-billionaire then?
Because I feel like, as me, I want to make as much money as I can, but I feel like I could help other people with that money. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But if you feel like you need to do something bad on the way there, is it really a? I didn't say that though. I've always said. But you said no. I know, but then I explained myself saying I don't mean you have to do something bad to be a billionaire. I said when bad decisions come into question once you're a billionaire, because you've got a decision to make, and majority of billionaires, they make that bad decision because they've got the resources to help the world, but they don't. That's what I've said. I said you have to do bad to be a billionaire. And that's I still stand by that. I think it's, if you do good, then you do good. But I've not, other than there's not many billionaires I've seen that have done good. If not one. Jeff Bezos isn't even seen as the richest man in the world because there's a lot of billionaires that aren't, trillionaires and this and that, that aren't even registered. Yeah. But I just think that it's kind of a decision you have to make for yourself. So obviously the podcast is going to be called Are Billionaires the Root of Evil in the World? But you've got to think, in your own morality, it doesn't matter whichever one you choose for, because it's your own opinion. What do you think is more important in your own mind? The world improving and changing, just the actions of a few innovators who create a lot of money, or exploitation of workers and exploiting situations to get to that point? No, because you're negatively. You're degrading the situation. But I think that is kind of. No, I feel like that is kind of the question you're asking. It's not. Because let me speak basically. Because if you agree with the first part about creating them, changing the world, creating new services all the time to improve the way the world works, you're also accepting the fact that there is some sort of negatives that have to go on for that positive to come out. Because I feel like every good thing has to be a product of something something small to be bad. You're rich enough to help that. No, it's in to get to the very top, you have to do something morally negative to get to that point. No, so if you accept that, I feel like if you're pro-billionaire, you can't be pro-billionaire. Do you feel you want to be a billionaire? You want to be. I want to have a. Yeah, I'm pro-billionaire. Okay, I said my point. I don't know if I would want to be a billionaire. Do you think you have to do bad to be a billionaire? You have to exploit the people around you to get to that. Exploit or morally degrade, where both are the same. Really. So you feel like you have to do that? To become a billionaire at some point, the extent is different depending on the situation. But you have to exploit a situation, whether that's people, whether that's a factor production. No, because you have to exploit. At the end of the day, Michael Jordan, he what's it like? You know, he was harsh on his teammates and this and that. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's
But
that's
yeah, that's a
competition.
small
That's fine.
extent. That's a small extent.
But small extent or
But the
big
fun-
extent. At the end of the day, if you're a big, you know, if you're a billionaire, and like you're Jeff Bezos, you've got more of that responsibility where like you just have to. You can't. You're rich enough to stop this exploitation, but you're refusing to do it because of your own greed. And that's what I'm saying. I think you're looking at it from like that's what I said right before.
No, but to be fair,
socially, I'm probably more socially like. Do you know what I mean, I care more about society and socially. I'm more socially there as a capitalist. I wouldn't like. I feel like I'd be against like you know against billionaires because the only reason I'm for billionaires. No, I'm talking about me, not you. The reason why I'm for billionaires is because socially I feel like I can make a better difference. But capitally, I can see like I accept your point of view of you're gonna have to exploit people.
Yeah, no, but it's
I'm saying
what
that.
you. I feel like it's very easy for us to be like, oh
it's easy.
If we had 158 billion pounds, we would do something. We do stuff better for the world. But to get to that point, you have to realize your mindset has to change. Like what we're on, like say we're on like 30k now. Your mindset has to change so much to be able to be that greedy to get all the way up to 158 billion pounds. Like I feel like even you, like I would say you have a good moral compass. Obviously, you know your own moral compass. But I feel like for you as your own moral compass, you would have to change that so much to get to that level of greed to get 158 billion pounds. There would have to be something inside you that changes, and you would. I feel like you might help. It's easy for us to say we would help because we don't have that money, but like, and we're in a situation where we can see like poverty happening like a lot.
Yeah,
but I feel like when you have that level of money, you have like you get there by being greedy, and you make greedy decisions.
I'm emphasizing my point where I'm saying as a socialist, I'm pro-billionaire. That's why I'm emphasizing my point. As a socialist, I'll be pro-billionaire, but as a capitalist, I'll be anti-billionaire because at the end of the day, you've just said it, or you will have to have that greed, and you'll have to have that exposition. I'm agreeing with you on that point.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if that's what all billionaires, if that's what you feel all billionaires are, then I'm against billionaires.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't believe all billionaires have to be like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying
I feel like
if you accept that, fair enough.
For me, I believe that like I get happy when society moves forward and things improve. But like, obviously it's upsetting when you hear about like the things that had to happen to get to that point. But sometimes like the greater good, like sometimes these things have to happen. Like you laugh, but sometimes if you accept the fact that like Amazon's amazing or Apple's good for the world, then you have to think some bad things must have happened. Some bad things must have happened.
I'm going to give you an extended situation because before what you and then you think about what you said just there. Like that's not what you're saying, but I'm saying the slave trade happened and it improved globalization in the world.
Okay.
Do you think the slave trade is a good thing that's happened? Think about what you say.
No, I like
exactly.
No, because they're two different conversations you're having. Because when anyone talks about no. When you talk about the slave trade, you're always talking about from the slaves. You're only looking at the slaves' point of view, which obviously that's the point of view you're going to look at, right? So obviously it's a negative, but like right now, the point of view that I'm seeing as a person from the UK is the goods and services and the way the world changes. Like I'm not seeing all this stuff. Well, it doesn't mean I have to be narrow-minded about it.
Exactly.
But like,
so if you know what's going on, then you'll be narrow-minded.
But I accept that I'm against, like, I'll sign petitions. I'll do whatever I can to stop this sort of things from happening because you don't need to be that.
If you're a billionaire, would you sign a petition?
No, obviously, no. It's in like now, like I sign petitions. Yeah, I'll put stuff on my story or things like that where I feel like there's bad going on in the world. But the question of billionaires being the root of evil, I don't think they are.
I don't think they're the root of evil, but I feel like they have a big responsibility to not be.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I will say, and that's what I'll stick by. And I do feel like when you're a billionaire, you have that decision to make afterwards.
Like it's a difficult conversation to have because like we're not billionaires, and we're not billionaires, and we're talking about other people
exactly.
as well.
So I'm never gonna back a billionaire and be like, oh yeah, you can be perfect and this and that because